morning, good evening, or good night, depending on what time you're watching. Welcome. My name is Ivannatheraputics, and this is the ChWo Podcast or the ChWo Talkshow. And I'll explain to you what that means so that you don't wonder if I'm talking about the toilet. I am not. The ChWo means talking and healing childhood wounds. So the T stands for talking, the HE stands for healing, the CH stands for childhood, and the WO stands for wounds. And as you can see, what we are saying is we are going to be supporting you to talk and heal your childhood wounds, and also focus on how we can do it respectfully, break family toxic boundaries and family toxic dynamics, and do it respectfully for the good of all. So we're not here to shame parents. We're not here to shame, the people in your family. No, we are doing it in a very solution-oriented way where we're finding solutions for the problems that are happening in our families that we know about. And why am I doing it? So who is Ivana? I'm a counseling psychologist, and I have been working with children for a long time, about 6 years, and I've been working in schools. So I've been working as a school counselor. So I have been meeting with children, all ages, all stories. I have heard stories from your households. Yes, your households. But I don't judge. The reason why we're here is because we realize that the children who are saying their parents are treating them in certain ways, these parents were also children once and also went through the same things. And before I go any further, I actually have a verse that is going to be my anchor during this podcast and during this show. I don't know if you want to hear it. Yes, if you're not a Christian, don't worry. I know your anchor might be something else, but hear me out as we read along. So there's a book in the Bible called Ephesians 6, and it says, "Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise. And the promise is that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on earth." Then it goes on to say, "Fathers, do not exasperate your children." In some versions it says, "Do not provoke your children. Instead, bring them up in the training and instruction of the Lord." So this is my verse. Why? Because it says, children, yes, obey your parents, because you're going to experience long life. But it also goes on to say that parents do have the capability to provoke their children. And this is where we are going to speak about this. Because one day you're a child, the other day you're a parent. So like for me, I am a daughter, but I am also a mother. So I have both sides of the coin, and I have seen how this plays out. And I just like to support both children and parents to just make the parent-child relationship very rewarding and make sure that, we remove those things that make us feel uncomfortable and those things that make us not become the best version of ourselves as children and also as parents. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a story of how my childhood was. I'll try and not go into so much detail, but I just want to give you enough detail to make sure you are comfortable with opening up about your own story as a child or as a parent. Yeah, and we said no shaming. There is no shaming in this talk show. This talk show is love, support. It's an area where we are healing. So we can't heal the child and make sure the parent feels bad. We can't be healing the parent and leaving the child in the dark. So remember, I'm going to give my story with a lot of consideration and courage. I will balance the consideration and the courage. So I think growing up, I went through, maybe the issue I would say was I had an absent father. My father was not present. And later on, we came to find out he passed on later on, but RIP. My mom, who was a single mom, she really tried her best. She's very goal-oriented, solution-oriented, books-oriented, academic-oriented. And she's a serious lady, those ladies who you'd see and be like, yes, this is a serious lady who stands on business. That means that sometimes she'd be very strict. Sometimes she would be very harsh to me. She'd make me feel like I don't feel understood. Just to give you some perspective, I'm those emotional kind of people. I told you I'm a counseling psychologist. Why am I such a good counseling psychologist? And yes, I am a very good counseling psychologist. Why I am is because I feel a lot. I'm those people who you would call sensitive. I feel a lot, and I'm not afraid to admit that I feel a lot. And sometimes people will call me sensitive, and I'm like, hell yes, I am sensitive, And it's okay. So if you're there back at home and people are always like, oh, you're sensitive, oh, you're proud, oh, you're selfish, be you. Feel free. Your feelings matter. Your feelings are valid. So anyway, back to the story where I was talking about how harsh my mom was. And so harsh is more of goal-oriented person, goals, logistics. She's more of, what would I say, practical, And so there was that gap in terms of our personalities were not the same. And so as a child, you feel misunderstood, you don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, and you don't feel valued. But she wouldn't know because she was doing the best based on what she knew. And that's the most important thing that all of us do. But now the other thing is to bring out that you need to know what your child needs, or what works for your child, or what is the love language of your child, So making sure that you're in that space where you're not just doing things because you have to do them, you're ticking things off a checklist as a parent, but knowing that it has to be a personal touch for your child. And not every child, including the ones you have in your house, you might have 3 kids and not all of them feel loved and supported by the same actions or the same words or the same way of loving. So it's very important for you to know what is your child's love language and your different children's love language. So anyway, now we've come to a place, me and my mom, where we have been able to work together. We have been able to talk about those wounds, of course, with enough bruises, with enough scars. We have, because I also realized as a child, when you're trying to fight for yourself or you're trying to express what your parents did to you that was wrong, you really sometimes hurt your parents because in their opinion, they did the best. Then you wake up and say, no, your best hurt me. Your best made me feel not enough. Your best made me feel like you're being toxic. And so the thing is, yes, parents do get hurt by you opening up about you feeling bad or you feeling hurt by what they did. So yeah, that happened to me, and we've grown. My mom even did a course in psychology, a 2-year course, and I am really grateful. And that's why when I stand here or when I sit here and talk about parent-child relationships, it's because I have a lot of passion about it. And I also feel very passionate about helping other families get to the place where they're able to deal with their own issues, because there are also different issues in different families. But so we're going to talk about it as I have talked about mine. I'll also talk more about it as we talk with different guests. But yeah, so feel welcome. If you want to be a guest on this show and talk about your experience, most welcome. So I just want to give you an overview of the ChWo, how we're going to be doing it. So expect to get an episode twice a month. And we are here at a very amazing studio that I will reveal to you later on. And so we're going to do an episode 2 times a month. And so you can expect that on my YouTube channel and other platforms that you're watching this from. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to invite guests. From our 3rd episode up to our 10th episode, we will be inviting guests who will share their stories. And of course, as I said, at the end of every episode, we are going to come up with a solution. We're not just going to come and say, hey, it's not a venting place, just to vent and then you go home with the bad emotions. No, it's kind of a debrief. That's the special thing about this talk show, is that it is more than just talking. You're also healing. So I will use what I know. And I said the anchor of this show, what I'm using as my anchor is God and my career. It doesn't matter whether you're Christian or not like me, but I know you have an anchor that you stand on, and that's what's most important. And as long as you and me agree that there's a higher power, we are together. So those are my 2 anchors, and I will make sure I use those 2 things to make sure that we work together and we also don't hurt each other in the process of talking about our wounds. The last thing maybe I'd like to say is that We are welcoming also parents who want to talk about their relationship with their children and things they have done to make it better. So it's a positive-sided conversation. No matter how negative we go, if you're in the comments, tell us, today was a bit too negative. Let's go back to the positive vibes. And we will do that. So we are looking forward to engaging with you. My social media platforms are ivannatheraputics, as you can see right over there. And of course, Ivana Wawero, my personal pages. And my email is ivannatheraputics@gmail.com. So you can reach out to us and we will definitely plug you in an episode you fit into. And if not, maybe the next season. So just send me an email with your name, what your story is, and what you'd like to come and share. And I'd be open to having this conversation with you. And you will leave here some percentage healed, some percentage healed. So welcome. And yeah, looking forward to engage with you.